Hello and welcome. I will be updating my resume this evening. So, as you can see, my personal information has been blacked out, but everything else is pretty visible. Now, I was just going to do this privately, but then I thought a lot of people actually really need help with their resumes. And so, if anybody pops in and decides that they need help, or maybe you're watching this after and you need help, just comment and I'll see if I can help you. So I think it's important to have an updated resume because it helps you to understand where you're at. And I mean that in that if you don't want a new job, let's say you're still in your current job and you're happy, it helps you to take a moment to evaluate yourself and determine, where am I in this? Am I meeting the expectations that I originally had when I set out with this job? For example, I thought I was going to learn such and such software and I haven't. And that could be an opportunity for you to look back and think, oh, okay, it's time for me to learn that skill, that thing that I was expecting to learn. And then there are other times where maybe you should congratulate yourself. Maybe you've learned more than you ever intended or ever thought possible. Maybe you took over someone else's job and now you're doing the job of two people and you're only getting paid for one. Maybe it's time for you to evaluate that you deserve a raise or something like that. So, anyways, I think it's always good to have an updated resume. I think it's smart, no matter what stage you're in, especially if you're searching for a new job. Probably update it. So, for my particular resume, I am an engineer. So, I have my education because without it, nobody's going to hire me. That's what I went to school for. That's what I'm doing now. I try to put my professional experience and my relevant experience differently because I did do research for 4 years or 2 years. It's more like 4 years, extracurricular research at the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory, which I'm debating removing this because nobody seems to care as far as employers are concerned. I've had one person tell me, oh, hey, that's really cool, but that's it. Nobody else seems to care, at least where I am or the job that I'm applying for. So I might take that off and then I can put my current job in here and I would like to evaluate where I'm at with my current job, things like that. Also, if you're on YouTube, I don't have that screen on me right now, so I can't look at the chat. I only have the Twitch chat open right now because that's where I get most of my viewers, so I'm so sorry. But you can still leave a comment and I can help you with your resume, or you can help me with mine. You might know more than me, or just have other ideas. So, anyways, because this is an engineering resume, it's boring. It's very cut and dry. It's very like, this is what I did, this is how I learned it, accept me. And what's sad, if you try to add pizzazz or make it look too flashy, people won't take you seriously, from my experience, or at least from what I was told by all of the recruiters and people who, so they would have job fairs, right? I would go to these job fairs, you would have copies of your resume, you would hand them to people, you would try to make a connection with them, right? I used to research all the companies that were going. I used to look at like my top 5 and I would try to really look at what projects they're doing, anything that sounded really interesting, things I could talk to these recruiters about, like with, and really try to stand out in that way. That never worked either. So I think it's important to do that, and I don't think I wasted my efforts in doing that because you really learn how to make a quick connection with somebody by doing that. I think that sometimes the effort that people can go through can be lost. I had one interview that I went to. They found me, right? They wanted to recruit me. They saw my resume just online, like on LinkedIn or something, and thought, wow, this person would be a great, addition to our team. I go in for the interview. They didn't give me an opportunity to show the research that I had done at all. So not only did they not send me a complete job description, the person who recruited me just sent me like a brief detailed, like, oh, you know, you're going to be like an engineer drafter, you're going to work with CAD, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, you know, cool. So when I went in, that's kind of what I had to focus on talking about. And they had to say, oh, you know, that's not what this job is at all. It's actually about this other thing. So I would say, if you can, research what job you're really applying for and ask for a description, because maybe I was young and naive, I don't know, but I didn't ask and I should have. And that's like the number one thing is, if you ask questions, any questions, all the questions, in a professional tone, nobody is going to think that you're stupid. And you will have more information. And therefore, you will be more valuable. Somebody who goes into an interview who knows the position, knows the company, knows, you know, everything there is to know about it, is more likely to get it. Not to mention, if you, oh my gosh, words are failing me. Not to mention, if you, for example, the jobs that I got, I knew everything. I knew about what the company was doing, what they needed, what exactly they manufactured, how they did it, what their stocks were, like everything. And I brought a notebook to the interview. I brought a physical notebook with a pen, and I had already taken previous notes, and I already wrote down questions that I wanted to ask. Um, Check for spelling errors. That's a big oof. Although I'm not exactly sure if this is the draft that I used to send out to people or not. Can you? Can you close that or? Speaking of being professional, maybe close all the doors that are around your streaming area. There's a little tidbit. Anyways, um, yeah. So this isn't the most recent one. This is not the one that I sent out to employers, but this is the most recent one that I could find. So we're just going to start from here, and I'm going to keep the education basics. Some of this, also I'm using Office Libre, which is free. Some of these are societies that I was a part of, but I don't think they're relevant. It was a way to just add a little bit of space to the resume, which now I think I can add more skills. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Aikido as well. So one of the reasons I had originally put that on here is because having something really interesting about yourself can open up a lot of doors. I got a job because the person who was hiring, their husband did Aikido. So I was able to talk with them about that. And it is a way to express to people that, yes, I'm disciplined. You know, I did this for not just a year, I did it for an extended period of time. And I was able to learn from it. But a lot of people also don't really consider it to be anything. And if you're writing cover letters like you should be, then it's irrelevant and you can put it in the cover letter if you feel that it's actually necessary or it'll get you anywhere. I personally, I write a cover letter, a personal cover letter for every single job that I apply to. If you're going to, you know, apply to jobs, I write basically who I am, a relative introduction of what may or may not be on my resume. So it's like one sentence, you know, I am so and so, like I am actively existing, currently working as, you know, an engineer at blah blah blah. So you want to say what position you're applying to, because oftentimes the HR person doesn't actually look at that. They just kind of look at the resume. So say what position you're applying to. And then any relevant skills or experience that you think might be necessary, things that would be interesting or that they would be interested to know. If you can use keywords from the job description, do so. I know that there was this thing going around where it was like copy the wanted skills from the job description and change the text to white and put it at the end of your resume. That way, when it goes through the software, like jobs typically have a software that looks at all of this stuff, and if you don't hit enough keywords or the right keywords, they don't even look at your resume. It basically just gets shredded in the computer system. I don't know if that works or not. I cannot speak to that. Have I done that? Yes, because if it raises the chances of possibly getting seen, why wouldn't I? On the same note, it feels like they would be able to see through that. So the jobs that I was really serious about, I went through the extended effort of putting those skills, the ones that I had anyways, into the cover letter and how it's relevant. So for me particularly, this is old experience. So right now, I am Control B. So Control B just bolds whatever you're about to write. Engineer, make sure to spell it right. And then I'm going to Control B again to make it not bold. And I'm going to put how long I've been working where I've been working. I believe it was the 18th. And then if you're still working there, put that you're still working there. So this, I need to put the date. Let's see. So then this would be to May 17th, 2021. I worked there for a year and a half. Then I moved to wherever my current job is. So then you're going to put the location, or rather company name, and then the location. And then you're going to put your skills. Control Z. So I want to copy bullet points. I'm going to continue with the bullets. One of the things that I've gotten feedback on before is if you have bullet points, stick to bullet points. If you end your sentences with a period, end them with a period. Don't go back and forth or think I should, don't flip-flop. Just pick one. Pick it and commit. You just gotta commit to it. Anyways, okay. So right now so there's a lot of like buzzwords that they talk about, action kind of words. You don't want to say like I was there. You kind of want to say what you did, how you did it. Gosh, I'm still not 100% sure how to word certain things. Like saying I'm proficient in fixture mechanics. First of all, it should just be fixture mechanics. It could say something more like, fixed fixtures. It's so weird because you don't want to be repetitive, but at the same time you want to be really specific in what you did, and you have to include an action word in it. So if anybody knows more about that, let me know. But basically, drafting, inspections, so, and then I've been doing engineering. Engineering in wave run-up analyses, no-rise certifications, gosh, what else have I been doing? This is the part where I really reflect on what I was doing, because I was originally hired to only do inspections, or just focus on inspections, and then to work on ANSI work. And then someone left, and I took over their job. And, drafting details for, and commercial projects. And then, yeah, I started doing drainage plans, and so I went from one thing, inspections, to all kinds of things. I became a jack of all trades rather quickly. So let's see. What else did I do? Or do I do? Drafting details for residential and commercial projects. I do different inspections. What do I want to call this? I look up code and ensure that it is being enforced. So I guess code enforcement. Enforcement? Enforcement. Code enforcement. And resulting. And then drafting. We've got, yeah, the real engineer. Actually, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's a lot of what I do. All right, so gonna double check the spelling. Make sure that the grammar is good. And let's see. Okay, you really want your resume to be one page. However, I know people who get a lot of attention when their resume is more than one page. So, go figure. I think in the end, you have to put yourself out there and basically say, like, this is what I've done, take it or leave it. And then the cover letter is where you say, hey, I'm not just a boring piece of paper. I actually have a personality and I'm a human being who does things. I don't know. It can all be very confusing and hard and frustrating. That can be said about a lot of things. All right, I'm going to move skills. The way I have it set up, I want it all to pretty much line up. Now, this experience, first of all, that's supposed to say neurodegeneration. I don't understand why it doesn't think that's a word. Also, Paravision is a type of program, just like Eliza or Eliza, depending on who you are and where you're from and what you care. And I know so much programming. So basically, if it's anything biomedical engineering, which is what my specialization is in, I make sure that the relevant experience is there. And if it's not, and I don't think they want to see it, I'll change it. There are... Oops, maybe that was where it was supposed to be. There are... There we go, that lines up better. You want to make sure it's all aesthetically pleasing. So this up here is like your general information, your name, your email, your phone number, your address, so they know whether you're local or you'd have to relocate. And you just have to, it sucks. It sucks so bad because if you're applying for jobs, that means you have to go through every single description and you have to think, what do I have? What is my experience that is relevant to this job? And you basically have to change your resume for every single one. So what I had started doing is it's something kind of like this. I add more skills and I basically have this master resume and I cut it down depending on what job I'm applying to so that it's one page. So if it's a more creative job, obviously I have a completely different artistic resume. But as far as all of the scientific technical jobs, I have this base resume that I then expand and cut down based on whatever job I'm applying for. Because, you really want it to be one page. I know people who put their picture on it. I don't know if I should do that. It takes up a lot of space. I'm also considering just completely reformatting it because, I mean, I've gotten a lot of attention with this kind of resume in the past in my particular fields, which is just kind of engineering in general. But I also feel like it's boring, and I feel like I have applied to many jobs where I am a perfect candidate. I have all of the exact things that they are looking for in a person. And for whatever reason, I don't get chosen. And honestly, I'm not even sure my resume made it to them. So if anybody has any suggestions, let me know. Maybe I should spice it up, make the text navy or something. Just something cool. So let's see. I know a lot more about code regulations and AutoCAD and a lot of people don't know how to make macros in Excel. And I think it is kind of important to put that. I actually don't understand why Excel isn't on here. It's also strange because half the job sites that you go to, they basically make you retype your resume again. And it's like, bro, I just handed you all of this information and now you want me to not only type it again, but like, I can't remember every single skill that I have. I have to actually think about it because I did a lot in school and I've done a lot outside of school, and I've continued to try to do things to kind of better myself as far as like the scientific profession should be concerned. And it can be really annoying when you don't have a master list of what your skills are to think every single time you apply to a job. Okay, what do I know? And it's funny because there are certain things that you think would be a given, like Microsoft Office, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, but they still want you to put those things anyways, even though pretty much everybody has learned them since 5th grade or earlier. But if you don't put it, they assume like, oh, this person clearly doesn't know what that is. Anyways, MATLAB, C++, JMP, I'd say a statistical analysis software, Aspen Plus, which is back with chemical engineering, polymath. I went ahead and put Windows. I'm not super great with Linux, so I'm not going to put Linux or DOS. Gosh. Microsoft Office, 365. Okay, good. I did put the 5DX APT 9401 SL. 5DX is a type of X-ray software that I had to learn, which basically has DOS commands. And then the APT is what is for the flying probe, which was back when I tested circuit boards. I programmed the tests for the circuit boards. So, like, yeah. Anyways, if anybody wants to know more about that, just ask. And we've got probabilities, typical statistical inference, differential equations. I don't understand why I put classes down, but again, let's do that. Let's do the master list that you cut down, because there are some jobs I've applied to that ask specifically, like, do you have these mathematical skills? So let's see. Separations. What else did I do? We got fluid dynamics. I know a lot about chemical fluid dynamics. What else did I do? Transport phenomena. There was a time when I was in school, when I was applying to internships, where I had basically a list of every class I had taken, because I thought that they were all important. And back when I was in school and I hadn't had an internship or anything, there was nothing to go off of. There was no experience to put on my resume. My experience was my classwork. And then I got, the undergraduate researcher position, and I started with more experience with like actual academic work. But, let's see. A full list of skills. Why do I not have resourceful on here? That has got to be my most important of skills. Then I'm just gonna write grit. We'll see if I need it or not. Grit is what got me through engineering school. It's what's keeping me around now. Resilient, resourceful. Um, I'm an extremely fast learner. And that's something else that you can put in your cover letter is you can pick skills that you think are extremely pertinent to whatever job you're applying to, and you can specifically say, I'm a fast learner. Here is proof. For me, it's I'm a fast learner. You know, my other job where I was an engineering technician, I learned my entire job in a month. And while you can't learn every little thing that'll go wrong with a machine, I could keep the entire area running by myself from then on. And if I needed help, I could call somebody. And I know that I'm a good learner because I learn like a new program every other month, it seems. I should put Python on here. Because I know Python. And C++, HTML. I like coding, so I should get back into it just because why not? It's always good to just have. And I want to say, again, like it depends on the job, right? So I could put like Streamlabs OBS on here because I do know how to use that program and I know how to use it well. I could also put, like Shotcut, like the video editing software, because again, I use it and I know how to. However, those are definitely two that for almost every job I'm going to apply to, I will probably cut out. I also don't like the way I wrote this. I worked for a legal office for a while. I got very good with office work. And some of this was not only... Oh, I already put quick learner. This is why we double check things. This is why you go over things. So some of this was for that work. Some of it was for when I was an engineering technician. And some of it I use now as far as like the basic skills. But basically, I separated my skills into intermediate technical skills, which means skills that I'm fairly confident in, and they are extremely technical. They are not a basic skill. So, for example, if I knew Microsoft Office at only the basic level, I would put it on under the basic skill, but I feel like I'm fairly good with it, so I put it under intermediate. And then dinner?
Dinner, yeah. I just
Food.
already told you dinner.
Okay, I couldn't hear you, and then you just interrupt my stream, and you're like on the phone.
They were not supposed to talk. I told them to shut up for a second. They just started talking.
Okay, I'm gonna come down for food. Just give me a minute.
Wait, I said dinner's ready. And
I couldn't hear. I literally have my headphones on. I don't know what you expect from me.
Why else would I come up here?
I don't know, to bother me.
What was I doing before you left?
You were on the phone with somebody. You were cooking food, like...
That part.
And then you randomly decided to put it in the microwave instead of the oven. And I was like, okay, I gotta go do this.
What I'm saying is, I can't just leave an oven on, like a stovetop.
Okay.
So if I'm up here, it means do I have to wait like 15 minutes?
I get it. I should have put 2 and 2 together and inferenced it. I'm a little focused on something else.
Well, whatever. You're just too busy yelling at me.
What do you want from me? Goodness gracious. Alright, I am almost done, regardless. But yeah, I hope that you were able to glean something from this. I might, like, move it around, add more skills or something. But I just thought it'd be helpful to kind of touch on this and just let people know kind of what I've experienced and what I've learned as time goes on about what to do with my resume. So, in any case, dinner is ready. I'll be back later to play Matt.